In the Rivera family, success was measured in degrees, not dreams. At every Sunday dinner, the table overflowed with food and comparisons. Her brother Marcus was a lawyer. Her sister Isabella ran a marketing firm. And then there was Elena, the youngest, the quiet one, the disappointment with paint under her fingernails. Still chasing that art thing? Her father would ask, slicing into his steak. It's not a thing, Dad. It's my work, Elena would whisper. Work? He laughed. Sweetheart, hobbies don't pay rent, her mother would sigh, setting down her wine glass. We just want you to have something real, honey. Something that lasts. But to Elena, art was real. It was the only thing that had ever made sense. So she painted quietly in her small apartment above a grocery store. Brush, strokes replacing the words she never said out loud. Her walls were filled with faces she'd imagined. Faces that looked like they had secrets. Faces that cried in color, and in the center of it all stood a canvas she couldn't seem to finish. A woman's. Portrait she'd titled The One They Don't See. It was messy, emotional, raw. Her family hated it. It looks angry, her sister said. It looks unfinished, her father added. It looks ugly, her mother muttered softly. Elena didn't argue. She just smiled faintly and said, maybe it's supposed to. Months passed. Bills piled up. The landlord left notices. Her paints ran dry. She applied to every gallery she could find, attaching photos of her work and tiny pieces of her heart to each email. No one replied. Her friends from college were moving on. Marriages, promotions, new homes, while she was painting on the backs of old cereal boxes because she couldn't afford new canvases. One night, she sat in front of The One They Don't See, staring at it through tears. The eyes on the canvas seemed to stare back, full of the same quiet pain she felt. Her phone buzzed. A text from her father. You can always come home. We'll help you find a real job. Elena stared at the message for a long time. Then she dipped her brush into crimson paint and signed the bottom of the portrait. E. Rivera. If this is failure, she whispered, then I'll fail beautifully. 3 months later, Elena was working part-time at a cafe, sketching between shifts. One afternoon, a man in a navy coat sat by the window watching her draw. When he paid for his coffee, he lingered. That sketch. It's powerful, he said. Do you sell your work? Sometimes, she replied carefully. I run a small gallery downtown. Bring a few pieces tomorrow. Let's talk. His name was Adrian Cole, an art curator with an eye for emotion over perfection. The next day, Elena walked into his gallery carrying 5 of her best paintings. He stopped at The One They Don't See. This one, he said softly. It hurts to look at. That's why it's brilliant. He offered her a small exhibition space for the upcoming New Voices in Art showcase. When the night came, she stood in a corner, watching polished people sip champagne and glance at her work. Most walked past without a word, until one man, a collector with silver hair, stopped in front of her painting. He stared for nearly 2 minutes. Then he turned to her. You painted this? Yes, she said quietly. What were you feeling when you made it? Unseen, the man smiled sadly. Then you've captured what most of us spend a lifetime hiding. He pulled out his checkbook. How much? She froze. I don't know. He wrote a number and handed it to her. $500,000. For all the time someone told you it wasn't worth anything, he said. Elena's eyes filled with tears. It's called The One They Don't See, she whispered. Now the world will, he replied. The next morning, her painting, and her name, were everywhere. The self-taught artist who shattered the silence of modern art. Her phone buzzed endlessly. Reporters, galleries, strangers. But one call made her stop in her tracks. Her mother. Elena? Hi, Mom. We saw the news. We're so proud of you, sweetheart. Elena was silent for a moment. You said my art was ugly. Her mother's voice cracked. I was wrong. I didn't understand it then. I do now. Elena took a deep breath. It's okay, Mom. You didn't have to understand it. You just had to believe I could. There was a long pause. Can we come see your exhibition? Her mother asked. Elena smiled softly. Of course. There's always room for family, even if they arrive late. That evening, as the gallery lights dimmed and guests trickled out, Elena stood alone before her painting. She remembered every laugh, every doubt, every time she'd almost given up. Now, the same people who had called her lost called her legend. Adrian walked up beside her. How does it feel? Strange, she said. They're all seeing me for the first time, but I've been here all along. He smiled. That's what art does. It shows people what they were too blind to see. Elena looked at the signature at the bottom of the painting. E. Rivera, the initials of the girl they once dismissed. The girl who refused to stop painting. She touched the canvas gently and whispered, "They called it ugly. I call it the beginning."